Really. What's up, folks? Kevin here, the Tattooed Toy Hunter. Welcome back to the Savage Podcast, and always my buddies and co-hosts and founders, Harry Sandman Pliar Vlog, David Blucher, Blucher's Videos and Collectibles, and today we're going to be doing our top 5 favorite TV shows of 2019, plus honorable mentions. How are you two fellas doing today?
Pretty good. Don't know about you, Dave, but I've had a nice day off. Pretty lazy. A little bit of adulting, but other than that, excited to talk about our favorite TV of last year. There were so many series, and there's so many good ones, and there's so many genres of TV shows that didn't exist 10 years ago that we have now, and I love it.
That's what I was thinking earlier myself when I sat down to actually make this list. We had an amazing 2019 for TV, you know? It was actually that. I'm sure when I give my list and my honorable mentions tonight, y'all will probably mention stuff and I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot. That was like 11 months ago, you know? Or, you know, something like that. Because it was a great year.
See.
Well, I didn't really watch a whole lot of TV, you know, but I did watch a few of the more of the mainstream shows. So I don't have a list. I'm just gonna go along with y'all's list. So if y'all have something on y'all's list that I watch,
you're gonna be stealing our choices like memes.
That's a good idea. Like, take notes of you.
I don't blame you. Everything that we like that you watch, you will remember thanks to our list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you know I don't watch shows like that like I used to. So I'm more of a movie guy than a TV series guy.
Well, let's make this a fun game. You have pen and paper nearby by any chance, David?
Nope, I sure don't.
He's like, nope.
Dictated.
Well, then I'm going to keep a tally on my phone. And I'm going to put, you're going to tell us your rank at the end after you hear all of ours, what your top 5 would be after hearing everyone's choices.
Okay. Sounds good.
What do you think we should do first, Kev? Honorable mention?
Okay. Yeah, I think we should start off down here and let's end with a kapow down there. You ever had a kapow down there?
Unfortunately, yes.
Plenty of times.
You're talking about when you shit yourself, right?
That's
not what
I was going with. But
I'm about to say.
I would go with a back there if I had
to. Down there, back there, under there.
So we're gonna go ahead with our honorable mentions, right? And you know, honestly, when I was going up with this honorable mentions, the first draft, I had like 20 shows. I have 5 because I retyped it today.
Yeah.
Like,
you finalized.
There was so many good ones.
There are.
And right now, even though I'm looking at 10 TV shows on my list, I could easily think about these tomorrow, and honorable mentions could end up on the top 5. That's
let me do some that I had to exclude from my list, and I'm not going to count as 2019, and that's because I didn't personally start until this year. So The Witcher and the Dracula series, I'm not going to consider 2019 because I didn't start.
I'm not either, man. I'm with you.
Although both of those shows are phenomenal and they deserve to be in the top 5, they will not be, and that's why. Because I am counting them as 2020 series.
I'm agree with you.
Sweet. As long as we're off to a good start, bro.
Yep, this is gonna work out.
I disagree.
Remember the movies? We were like really off on the movies.
I disagree.
The movies were way off. Everybody got mad at me. I mentioned Hellboy, and that was it for like 30 minutes.
I'll go first. I'll give my number 5 honorable mention. We'll trade back and forth and get feedback from Dave. So my 5th, I'm going to count. These are in order. So the 5th honorable mention, counting up to 1, for me is the animated dramatic series Attack on Titan. This is a very graphic anime. It is on Cartoon Network. You can watch it with English dub. You can watch it on Hulu in Japanese. Season 3 was last year. It's over the top violent. This show has brought me back into anime after years of not watching, but I loved it in the late 90s and the early 2000s in my 20s. when I didn't have as much problems. I had way more time and money than I do now, but I love Attack on Titan, and it is my 5th choice on the honorable mentions list. Season 3.
Yeah, that one, man, I almost thought I was gonna sneeze. That one right there, honestly, like all the younger guys that I work with in EMS, every one of them, when I would ask for like opinions, like or
what anime should I watch?
That's one of them.
Oh yeah.
They say maybe part 1, season 1 may be slow, but after that it just takes off.
The first half of season 1 is very difficult hump to get over, but once you do, the story really gets freaky and weird, and you become super invested in the characters. Like a proper anime should hook you.
Yeah. Like Death Note.
Death Note.
And OPM.
What's your 5th honorable mention? Let's trade.
Okay, and I'm going at the bottom of the list. Just how I have it.
You have to do your 5 honorable mentions.
Right, and I got them in a list format too, so I'm gonna go at the bottom of it. So my 5th honorable mention is OPM. OPM is my 5th honorable.
What is that?
One Punch Man.
Okay. How fitting. Yours is also an anime.
Yeah. What I tried to do, to be honest with you, when I was figuring out a format for my 2 lists here, is I was trying to keep animated at the bottom part and do real like acting, like where it's
live action
and acting.
Right.
That's the way, and I'm not saying that but I think there's more involved in the acting portion of it. So I feel like that should get, points too. So that's how I'm doing it.
What is it about One Punch Man that has gotten you so won over these last 2 years when you initially saw it?
I think I'm emotionally invested in the characters now. The characters are amazing. I love their storylines, like Genos and Saitama. I'm really into both characters.
It's an incredible story because you do not fit the typical anime fan.
Right. And I'm not,
parameters, your age,
right,
your career.
My taste is very much vintage and Western.
Right. But this anime has synced with you in some weird way, and you love it, and it shows, and I believe you, and I can tell it's not a front. And I'm genuinely happy that you like anime now because of One Punch Man.
Yeah, I'm still real particular with anime. There's still only a handful.
Yeah, there are some that are. Yeah. You have to be really into it deep, like niched, and it's not for everybody. But I'm glad you enjoy One Punch Man.
Yeah, that's one of the handful.
Yeah, that One Punch Man is a good show. I'll admit that that's one of the shows I did watch last year, early last year in 2019. And
how many seasons is there of it?
There's only one. Well, I've only seen season 1.
Yeah, there's 2 seasons out. My problem is I do not like just subtitle reading.
You're waiting for the English dub.
And they're not dubbing the 2nd season altogether. They're only doing an episode at a time dubbing. So I'm waiting for the last 3 episodes to finish off what they have out.
So you're a little bit into season 2, but you've not seen it all.
I love it for what I can hear. The dubbed ones, I love them. Yeah. It's a great season.
Anime takes a long time to make because of the language barrier.
Yeah, I'm not too fond of dubbing. I have to watch the I don't like the English. I don't like the English dubs. I rather watch the subtitle because this is my opinion, and that I watch it for what it is and how it's presented. I don't mind reading. I don't have a problem reading on the screen. So.
I can't keep up with it. It changes.
That's a Star Trek trait that Dave has. That he will go witness something in its pure form, unaltered.
Yeah. And like, don't
cater to him. He's like, don't mind me. I'm just observing in your natural habitat.
Don't dub the Klingon.
It's like he's watching
basically
exploring a new species of dinosaur that hadn't been found yet.
Exactly, and it's a lot better that way because if the English dub really, in all honesty, kind of takes away the lust that it has for the actual show itself, and it just sounds. I guess it all depends on who's dubbing it too. it just sounds all wonky and shit, and that's just not my thing. I rather it doesn't add up when you read it and actually trying to hear it at the same time. It's just off, you know. And to me, it's off. But I prefer there's just its original format, the way it's presented, because that's just how it's supposed to be, you know. But I understand why they do it when they do it, because you know not everybody, like Kevin mentioned, that can't keep up with it or just doesn't want to be looking down, just reading all the time and not actually paying attention to the action itself. I mean, that's just how my wife's that way too. She doesn't like reading, you know. She'd rather have the English stuff, which is
Me
fine,
too.
you know. But if I'm by myself watching it by myself, I'd rather have it in the original format in a way it's supposed to be.
That's a fair assessment, and that's a good point, especially when you're watching with your significant other. They're not going to be as into the subtitles. More likely, they're going to want English voice. But let's move on. I'm going to do my fourth honorable mention, and I'm going with Disenchantment. This is the creator of The Simpsons, his latest animation project. It's exclusive to Netflix. We were blessed with season 2 last year. It was a lot of fun. The show is so easy to watch, so funny, but at the same time, I am completely over the hill and in love with the fact that there's a bigger storyline going on in the background. And that is something that this particular animation studio has never had to do before. All of The Simpsons and all of the Futurama episodes are self-contained. They start and end in the same episode. There's no continuation on that story. This has a bigger story being told in the background each episode. So, like her mother. We got a lot of juicy tidbits. Elfo was restored to life. Sorry if you haven't watched yet. You should have seen it by now. Season 2 was great, so that's why it's on my list. It should. I mean, if it weren't for, like we were saying earlier, Kevin, the quality of shows we had last year was phenomenal. This show deserves to be in my top 5, but in this case, I had to make it on my honorable mentions list.
Yeah, five spots on top 5 is not very much, so you have to be real picky. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even give Disenchanted a thought, but that is one of my favorite animated shows of the year. I agree with you. It's a totally different type of storyline telling from him. Like you said, we're usually standalone episodes, so you can just jump in whenever you want. It doesn't matter on the old stuff.
Right.
But the story is great, especially with The Simpsons. Is like it's a burnout thing already, you know. It's gone on so long that I don't enjoy any of the episodes anymore, except for maybe the specials, like Treehouse of Horror. Other than that, I don't think they're funny anymore. And it's time for them to do something refreshing, and I'm glad they did this Disenchantment. We needed something new from them.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
It's been refreshing, to say the least.
Yeah, I really like the story. I like the characters. I'm invested in Lucy and all the characters.
Oh, the dynamic between Bean, Elfo, and Lucy.
Yeah.
That trio right there, like they all complement each other so well, and they're so fucking funny all the time. I mean,
yeah.
You got any comments on Disenchantment, Booker?
Never seen it.
You need to change that, my friend. You need to change that. You and Lean would love that show. So, what's your number 4 honorable mention?
My number 4, you're not gonna like, because I already heard you say you weren't into it, but it's
Tell me.
Space.
Okay, I respect your choice. Tell us why did it make your list?
Well, for one reason is I'm a fan of the original series. I'm a fan of the remake movie in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gave it a chance because I like the old Danger. And it was a different way of telling it, like they like to do nowadays, put little spins on everything. Like now we have Smith as a female instead of a male. But I enjoyed it. And I have not seen any episodes of season 2 yet. But I can't wait to, give them a chance. There's other stuff that's take precedence with my time. But I enjoyed season 1, so it made a mention. Really, I didn't watch a ton of TV. Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of TV series, but this made honorable mention because it's one of the handful that I did actually watch the whole season last year.
My wife and I tried it, and we got halfway through and just became disinterested. the hook didn't set, and we kept watching. And the more I watched, the less I cared about the characters, so I stopped watching. But I could see why you like it as much as you do, considering you actually love the original and the remake movies. So, as I don't have very much when I think of those personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, the TV series was pretty good. You know, I saw a little bit. I hadn't finished it, but I did see half of it. So I really enjoyed what I saw. I mean, yeah, it can be a slow burner at times, but usually when it comes to TV series, usually you have to give at least a full season, if not more, to be fully invested.
Before you put the bullet in the back of the head and kill it.
Yes. And just like Kevin, you know, I like the original TV series as well. Grew up on that. And then the movie that came out, you know, I really like that one as well. Because, you know, I own that stuff. So I wouldn't own it if I didn't like it, you know. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to go ahead and see once I try to finish season 1 before I start season 2. Because
so what you're saying is it's safely still on your list of stuff to watch. You have no plans on removing it from your list.
Nope.
Okay. Well, you're not going to like my third honorable mention choice because it may come offensive to you because you absolutely love this show like a passion, and that is the one and only Rick and Morty season 4. It made my honorable mentions list, not even my true top 5. And that's no disrespect to the series, and it's not like we're getting lesser episodes. We're just the fact that we only got half a season and we're still waiting for the other half. I have to dock them a little bit for not having it already. And that's purely because they're all filthy rich and they don't want to work anymore. They paid them up front for 70 episodes and they literally just sat on their ass and didn't do anything. And then when it came time to produce, the best they could come up with was 5 episodes. And the other 5 are still in the woodwork. And animation just takes forever. But don't get me any wrong. The quality of the 5 episodes we've gotten, as you've documented here on the Savage Podcast, Kevin does reactions to Rick and Morty episodes, and he'll continue to do so as season 4 progresses whenever they get out of hiatus. I mean, I think it's hilarious. It's awesome, but it made my honorable mention list. It's number 3.
Enjoy it. You're right, and you know what you were saying about the creators of it. They actually they admitted that. They said they got the money, they had a good time, they were blowing money and having fun with their families, and they got lazy, and they admit to being lazy.
And then it's time to work, and they're like, "Well, what can we whip up here?" They did better than J.J. Abrams and his team when it came to Rise.
Well, I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know. So.
It's definitely not a Rise of Skywalker situation, but just having 5 episodes to go was very, after waiting as long as we waited.
Yeah.
So what's your number 3 in your honorable mentions list, Kev?
All right, mine's going to probably be a little audio because we don't talk about it, but I picked The Ranch for my third.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I think it's
I'm familiar with the show. I know of it.
I'm a huge Sam Elliott fan, and I liked a lot of the actors that are in it. It's good. I actually hadn't watched it until last year because my wife was into it.
That's when you got into
it. So they got me hooked on it, yeah.
And then you watched the back episodes to get caught up with them.
Right. Yeah.
My wife loves that show. And do you feel the show is any lesser now that the
Rooster's gone?
Actor of his brother has been changed?
I have Hawk. Yeah, the dynamic of the story, the characters are different now.
Yeah.
He was awesome. He was funny. I felt he was basically the comedy relief of the show, and it's a comedy. You know, they had to totally change that around and put it on other people, but I thought he was the funniest character in the show. So, yeah, I think it hurt it, and oh well. But
it made your honorable mentions list, and that's something.
Yeah.
Luker, what's your thoughts on that? Any thoughts on The Ranch? Not a fan?
Never seen it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's a sitcom, and it's got Ashton Kutcher.
That's probably why.
And he's a baby daddy.
With The Ranch being my number 3, I would actually tie number 3 with The Office.
Okay.
And there was another one I just forgot, but I would put The Office there too as a binge show for like for work, because people for some reason recently at my job, people are just into that Office. And
The Office is the appeal of that show is crazy, bro. You have so many people that are into it that you wouldn't label them as fans of that type TV, but I'm one of the rare ones that could care less when that show went off the air. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it, and nothing against it. Just it doesn't hold my interest. It's not funny enough.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I didn't watch it. I had no interest in it. And then after watching, like I just didn't like it when it came out. I didn't care. I thought it was kind of goofy and I went into it, but for some reason, after the wife started watching certain seasons and work, for some reason it clicked in my head and I got into it.
To me, I feel like when Carell left that show, it got even more boring. He was like, his episodes were way more entertaining than without him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He outgrew it though because of his film career,
Yeah.
Well, it lasted 10 seasons, so it tells you something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And there's
you can't argue that.
Yeah.
And there's a talk of redoing it again.
Well, they shouldn't. They should. That was the reboot, if you want to think about it, because
the British one.
Yeah,
with Ricky Gervais, that's the real one.
Well, honestly, this past year, towards the end of the year, SNL, that guy Steve Carell came out as the host and said again that he was back in it and was ready for the reboot of it, or him coming back.
He's down to be back in the office selling copy.
And they had in the crowd was the female. Oh, Pam. Pam was in the crowd on that SNL skit, and she said that she was too. They were trying to get all.
I'd say her ass is looking for any kind of work because she ain't that he's like directing and they want to be Mr. Friend. And she's like kind of like, I need some more payday.
I need money.
I'm down.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on along. My number 2 on the honorable mentions list is a fantastic series that I know for a fact all 3 of us watched and loved, and that is Punisher Season 2 on Netflix.
Punisher Season 2.
I mean, how sick. I mean, how freaking story. Like, it was better than Season 1, and it's because Frank in this one already knows who he is now at this point. Like, after everything he went through in Season 1, he's asserted himself as this guy that's going to get between innocents and criminals that will do harm. And him protecting the girl. This season had everything. It was loaded. I mean, the scene in the gym with the giant dude, the bodybuilder scene, like how gory. I mean, and then let's talk about the guy with the hat, the Pilgrim, like his character, the dynamic between him and Frank. And then Frank at the very end, just the scene with him with the legit Punisher outfit, busting in that hangar, locking the door with all those guys and pulling the guns out. I mean, we really deserve a Season 3.
It ain't going to happen. That's the sad thing. Is because no, it's not going to happen.
They said it's not going to happen. I know there was little kind of gossipy rumors.
It's all because of Netflix's deal. They're looking for money. They're going to hang on to those rights until Disney pays them for it. And then they can proceed with a Season 3. But until then, Netflix is holding the bargaining chip on that one. But what's your second honorable mention?
Okay, my second is going to be Superstore, another comedy sitcom. Again, that's one that the wife and I have been.
Never heard of that one.
It's really funny.
That one's got America Ferrera in it. It's real popular.
Only the cool kids watch it.
I've never.
Yeah, that would be you.
I know of it. I know it's popular.
I enjoy it. Just one of those that's really funny. I think it's
Where do you watch that on?
Hulu.
Hulu.
But see, we don't have just the regular basic Hulu account.
You have
That's
the
something called Hulu Live.
uh-huh.
We got all the channels and
Right.
Like having cable
programming on that's like the $15 version of Hulu, not the $6 one.
She's paying like 30 some bucks on it.
Mm-hmm.
We got everything though. It's got everything. It's got Disney. It's got ESPN Live channels, and it's good.
So why Superstore? Because it's another comedy and the laughter.
I think I really connect with that kind of comedy that writer does. I like it. It's really funny, and it's kind of like a spoof of kind of how like Walmart, how they say the Walmart people and people that work there and people that shop there and all that, which I do. So I just find it.
We all do.
Never heard of it, bud. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
This is a ear and eye opening experience for our bud. Superstore.
Superstore, sir.
Number 2 on the honorable mentions list for the TTH. My number 1 honorable mention is Jessica Jones, season 3. What an amazing season. A roller coaster of a story.
That one I didn't see.
Shame on you, sir. Shame. Fix that.
See, the only reason why I didn't see that is because once they canned everything, it was like, what's the point?
There's a point, and there's content to be had from that season, sir. It's a very good watch. Ask Kevin. The villain of season 3, and he's not a powered individual. He's just very intelligent. Was so like you could not wait for Jess to get her hands on this dude for so many different reasons.
Oh yeah.
And the gratification of when he finally got what was coming to him with Hellcat. And I know Hellcat in particular was something Kev really was applaud the show's adaptation of that character in this realm from comics. And how the chick that played Trish transformed her role from just the damsel in distress sister celebrity to what she did as becoming the Hellcat on the show, and ultimately being Jess's main rival of season 3 was her own sister.
Yeah. I go into geek mode whenever we get a new character that we don't see in our movies, or our series or our animations. I mean, she's not one that's come out in the TV series or movie anymore, so it was cool to get her plugged in. And they never called her Hellcat. You actually have to be a fan to pick up on it and do your little research, and you find out.
That's another thing is how they, even though I didn't watch it, I heard about a few things, and they,
watch it, bud. Do it, please. Before they pull it from the service. Netflix could just take the Marvel stuff down at any time. Watch it while you can, man. It's worth watching.
I got to get through all my other lists first before I hit that. It's at the bottom
anyway,
of the
that's my number 1 honorable mention. TTH, you got one?
Oh, we're going to, what are we on, number 1?
Number 1 of your honorable mentions.
All right, this is an animated series, and this is one that's been one of my favorites for years. It is Family Guy.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites. I love the humor. I like the animation. It's something that at this point, the wife and I have watched it so many times over and over that it's like our background noise to go to sleep to. We put it on to go to sleep, like not even really half paying attention anymore. But yeah, it's my number 1 honorable mention because it's like my favorite all-time animated adult cartoon show. Well, at least modern. So it's there.
Yeah, the set.
I'm all into it.
It's really asserted itself in a very small club of adult cartoons that have lasted as long as it has and has kept its appeal. But
Seth is a genius. He's hilarious. He's talented. The guy could sing. He could do everything. Act.
He's funny, man. He's extremely funny. His impressions.
Yeah.
He makes fun of himself. I mean, he's got all the tools, and he just signed that mega deal with NBC. So.
Yes. He's moving away from Fox, right?
He's separating himself from Fox. So
jumping ship.
Good for him, man. He's earned it. I mean, he worked hard for that.
So we're jumping into the top 5, huh?
Yeah. Before we do our honorable mentions list, just to recap, let's just do them all. And then mine was Attack on Titan, and then I had Disenchantment, and then Rick and Morty season 4, The Punisher season 2, and Jessica Jones season 3 from 2019. Those are my top 5. Those are my honorable mentions.
It's a good list. And then I had OPM as my number 5. One Punch Man, then Lost in Space, The Ranch with Sam Elliott, Superstore, and Family Guy. So that's
So
my
after
5.
those honorable mentions, Dave, do you have any kind of honorable mentions yourself now, or?
Nope.
So we should just go to our actual list.
Sure,
And,
I'm
I'm going to start with one that I thought would be much higher on my list, but it is on the list, and that is Game of Thrones season 8, the finale of this fantasy saga that we have watched faithfully for so many years, since 2012. And it came to an end this year. Last year, it was a lot of criticism on the ending. People weren't happy. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a HBO series has come to an end under scrutiny. I think you remember when The Sopranos went off the air. People hated the way that ended. No matter what you do, when you end something, people are going to bitch. And I think that was the case. Although I personally didn't expect that what happened to have happened, I respect those two dudes that wrote it going that route. I see why. It's still, I think the overall story has earned its spot on my list. Why I have to bring it up as my 5. So Game of Thrones season 8 is my 5th favorite TV show of 2019.
It's funny because it was an epic show. It had a huge fan base, huge. And when I think about it, it's everything in the world that I love. Yet I've not seen one episode. It's got 8 seasons that I haven't seen.
Shame on you.
It's unfortunate because it's everything. I mean, I'm into dark fantasy. I'm into everything about it. Dragons. I mean, it's got everything, and I haven't seen it. And I want to binge those 8 seasons. I just need to get into it because there's so much going on. But
prior to writing a Song of Fire and Ice series, George R.R. wrote soap opera scripts.
Wow.
So he just combined soap opera going on in a medieval fantasy setting.
Yeah.
And added a lot of doom and gloom and a lot of violence and a lot of doggy style. And
that's it.
And that's
number 1 hit.
That's his history.
That's what you need.
Abs and boom.
Dire Wolf style, if you want to take it.
Wolfie style. Bow wow wow, yippee oh yippee.
A lot of decapitation, so many heads on so many spikes. Dave, I know you watched season 8, the final. Talk about it. Give us your thoughts. You and I even did a video on the old Two Guys reviews.
I remember that.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
It feels like a lifetime, right?
A lifetime.
A year ago.
Season 8 has its ups and downs. I mean, my thing is, if you're going to take a season off, like a year, and you only have your fan base, like Kevin said, it had a huge following. And I can't remember a show last time that had a following like that, like truly a following. Probably not since The Walking Dead when it first premiered, because Walking Dead was pretty huge for its time. It's died down. It's died down a lot, but but it didn't have the nearest following as Game of Thrones. But anyways, like I said, if you're gonna be like, I want to say, if you're gonna take a year off and let the fans wait a year, it should give you more than enough time to put together a story the way it's going to be a good fit to make everybody go home happy at the end. They didn't do that, and a couple episodes here and there were good. Had a few duds, but at the ending itself was just still, you know, it was like
Yeah.
it wasn't.
I mean, I
It
get
didn't.
that.
It didn't have the hype that it was supposed to have, and with only 8 episodes, what was it? 6 episodes, 8 episodes. It was short, and like you deprive. I mean, yeah, I understand you made it a little longer than what they're supposed to be,
Right.
but still, you still should have had to make at least 10 episodes. At
Well, I mean,
least they could have.
it shows the balls of those two dudes, the writers, who knew what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted a happily ever after. Like John and Danny ruled the Iron Throne together with John as king. They could have easily gone that route, but these guys had the nads to say, "Fuck y'all, we're doing this, and we're getting
Yeah.
to do it."
Also, when they did the the arc with what was it, the Night King?
Mm-hmm.
I think that should have
You
lasted
didn't
a
like
little bit
Arya
longer
getting
than.
the kill?
No, it wasn't that. It should have lasted more than 2 episodes.
The conflict with the Night King was resolved way easier than it should have been. Like,
it should have been, yeah.
right.
It should have been.
The King's Landing stuff was more difficult, it seems, and more taxing on their army than battling the undead, which doesn't make any sense because they were so outnumbered.
They put so much into that.
And then the fact that Night King was resurrecting their freshly dead on the field as his own soldiers. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it was an impossible odds kind of thing. And I mean, a lot of people are saying, yeah, I mean, it was, I mean, obviously those dudes were ready to complete their contract with HBO and move on to their next project. So maybe there was a little bit of like just put anything and let's get out of here. You know, it's time to go. It's like it's time.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
So we would love to know what your favorite show of the year. This is your top 5, number 5.
This is when the real stuff comes up, and I had to actually give some extra thought to these 5.
Yeah, to get that extra brain power going.
And I think, looking at my list, I think I did a good job of picking these 5. My 5 is Punisher. That actually passed up my honorable mention, and it landed in my top 5.
I don't blame you one bit. Such a
Pilgrim is one of my favorite villains for TV series, any TV series storytelling of 2019. I think Pilgrim is probably my favorite villain character, and because a lot of the way he thinks, I'm like down with. You know, this guy's the villain, but in a lot of ways,
right.
I get it as far as
he was on a leash. You know.
Yeah.
He was basically an instrument for that guy that ultimately, I don't want to ruin it for anyone who's not giving themselves the pleasure of watching, but that end scene in that mansion in the kitchen when, you know, I mean, we'll just leave it at that. I mean, I don't blame you for picking it. It's a phenomenal show. Everyone involved with that, including Barfnall, who has really made playing Punisher his own thing. He surpassed Thomas Jane in my book.
Absolutely.
As the best live action Punisher of all time.
Yeah, and the other one, the Marvel Knights.
I didn't think it was possible, but
Ray Stevens.
Yeah, Ray Stevens.
That guy wasn't even. Ugh.
And I think all of it, because even as much as I like Dolph,
even better than Dolph.
No, Lundgren's.
I like him.
Naked Predator. That was the dark.
He was more better He-Man than he was Punisher.
Yeah,
that ain't saying much, dude, because he's
for what it was the time.
He-Man with a rifle.
Hey, it was the '80s, man. What'd you expect?
Rifles was
it was good then.
Like, oh, where's this gun? It's the '80s. He's got to shoot people. You're right. I'm sorry. We'll fix this.
We'll fix this.
I love your number 5. I don't blame you one bit. A phenomenal choice. Anybody who considers himself a fan of comics and Marvel, if you've not watched Netflix Punisher season 1 and 2, you need to fix that.
Arguably Punisher and Wolverine, you know, like when I think about my 80s and 90s being a huge comic book fan back then, I think those two badass characters are.
You bought a lot of those books, huh?
Most
Anything
popular
with
two Marvel characters.
yeah, Punisher and
They were
X
the ass kickers.
Wolverine on the cover. Yeah,
In fact, I have crossover where they fight each other plenty of times.
yeah, that's
Those
not
are great
a
comic
fight
books.
too. To the Punisher doesn't back down, man.
You don't back down for being just a human.
Okay, I'll do my number 4 in my top 5. Unless Blucher, you have something to say about Punisher being his number 5. You understand why it's on his list, don't you? Though it's a great show.
Indeed.
So moving right along. Number 4 of my top 5 is another HBO series. This is one that I've been watching for the last 7 years. It recently came to an end, just like Game of Thrones. This was the show that would normally come on after Game of Thrones. And I immediately just started watching it because Mike Judge, the same guy did King of the Hill, same guy did Beavis and Butthead. It's one of his shows. He's a legend. He did the Office Space movie. So this is Silicon Valley. It's a comedy. It's real easy to watch. It's based in Silicon Valley in Cali, and it's about this guy who's living in an incubator, which is a real thing. It's a home that is being rented to developers who cannot afford the rent in California per se, but they can rent a room from somebody. And the way they're paying to live there is if they develop an app that becomes a hit, the owner of the home gets a percentage of the app. They own it, the shares. So you can actually, as a developer, in order to have somewhere to go to sleep in California, because the rent is so astronomical, David knows this firsthand. He's got loved ones in California. Tell them the situation over there.
Well, it's pretty crazy, and it ain't cheap at all. Because a lot of times people these days, especially over there, they have to work two times, like a full time and a part time, just to make ends meet, and that's just it's about damn near everybody. How they make it, I don't know. I don't know, but yeah.
But that's why there are people out there that will get these multi-room homes and then take applications from people who are developing an app, and then they'll make a choice. Okay, this sounds promising. Where do you work? I need to see your work and employment history. Have you worked for Google? Have you worked for Sony? Whatever. You need credentials. If you get in on a house and they sign the deal, you live there. Your electricity, all your part of the bill is covered because you are developing an app. If you're not working on your project and your landlord deems that you are deliberately not trying to develop something, they'll kick you out. They don't have to and they can call the cops and have you removed from the premises. So you have to actively working on it. So I'm getting off track. I love the series. I've watched it. It's very funny. Fans of Big Bang Theory will feel right at home with this show. It's very geeky, very nerdy. The cast is very hilarious. One of the regular members, the main cast member of this show, is the new guy for Verizon, the one that instead of "Can you hear me now?" it's the new guy they have doing their ads. Yeah. That pasty face kid. He's the main character of the show. I don't know his name, but.
Cool.
Another regular on there is the guy who is the teacher on Spider-Man, the Far From Home, the one with the glasses.
Yeah.
That takes them on the field trip. That
the
guy.
Nerd, the nerdy one.
Yeah, he's on there. I mean, the cast. I can't speak enough. It's so funny, and Silicon Valley is my number 4.
Sounds good. I've never watched it. I never had an interest of it.
You'll
I didn't
see
know what the
it.
story was.
You may consider if you might be on Hulu and you'll see it available. You may
I'll give
want
it a chance now.
If the first season doesn't hook you, it's not for you.
Okay, I'll give it a chance. But yeah, it didn't even make my radar.
Yeah. Well, now you know about it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you do your number 4.
Okay, you ready for my number 4?
Your number 4 on your top 5.
Okay, this show has I think only one season out, and I haven't seen all of it. I've seen 8 episodes, and it's Umbrella Academy.
Okay.
From what I have seen so far, I've enjoyed it. I'm down with the supernatural, superhero aspect of it. I like the story so far from what I have seen. I've enjoyed it. And I need to finish up the last few episodes of the first season, but I like it so far.
That'd be pretty darn good if it made your top 5,
Absolutely.
your honorable mention.
I've
Yeah,
only seen the pilot episode. I hadn't got a chance to see anything else of it yet.
But it's on your watch list, Dave.
Yeah,
I may have to.
I just don't have near the free time like y'all do to really get focused on these shows.
You don't sacrifice sleep like we do.
I can only
Nope,
I
I don't.
only have time to watch TV if I'm home or at work.
So that was your number 4, Umbrella.
That was number 4. I mean, and
Go to
also what
one
I
that-
like about it is a lot of the actors, like it's not, they didn't just go throw $1 million at a big name. These are pretty much
And you love it
underrated,
when
unknown.
shows give unknowns chances
Yeah, and they're
out
great,
there and be
Good
discovered.
acting.
Speaking of the unknown, my number 3 on my top 5. Don't know if you boys have seen it. I hope you have, and that's Stranger Things season 3, Netflix.
Stranger Things season 3. That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah,
Man.
that's pretty huge right there.
Yeah, that one has got a huge following.
That was
My understanding, it's only made for 4 seasons, is what I understand.
right. They are currently filming 4 right now.
These unknown actors and actresses are blowing up like crazy due to their exposure from that show.
Well, look at
Like,
the
they're all over
kid.
the place.
His name,
Yeah,
the one
that's gonna come out in Ghostbusters.
the one that's in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mike.
They went from doing an episode where they were dressing as the Ghostbusters for Halloween, and now he's in the actual fucking Ghostbusters movie.
pretty awesome. Yeah, him and 11 really did well so far.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then
Oh,
Hopper. I mean, we can't
And
undersell.
Hopper, probably Hopper more so right now because he's getting. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's
I could
just
see that.
dude is his approach to acting is just so fun to watch, and I really love the parodying of Magnum this season with his attire choice and
Mhm.
I have a question.
the little friendship he formed with the Russian guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, season 3 was they took some bold steps, and then even flipping the script on us, making us love Billy when we thought we would never love that.
right.
dude.
Yeah.
2, just like we thought Steve was a douche in 1, and then we loved Steve in 2.
Yeah, we're all about Steve.
They did it with us with Billy too. You cared about the fucker when he died, and
Yeah. I agree.
amazing show. That's my number 3. What's yours?
Well, stepping away from that, my number 3 is going to be Stranger Things.
We can talk
Yeah.
more about it.
Yeah. No, I enjoy it. I think it's fairly original writing. I enjoy it. It's different. It's a little different, and I'm down with the storyline. Again, I like that supernatural element to it. I
Yeah,
like that it's kind of I don't want to say a period piece, but it's older.
yeah,
Set a little further behind in times, and I think Hopper, like you said, I think
yeah.
I'm sure he's done stuff, but I think this is I want to say a breakout role because I know he's done acting,
Yeah.
but I think this really put him out there for you.
David Harbour. David
He's
Harbour.
closer to being an A-lister now because
Oh
of it.
yeah,
So,
no doubt.
excellent.
I kind of feel like the Starcade Mall was almost a character in this season because
Yeah, it
Yeah,
really
it
was.
right?
it brought so many retro feelings of what going to a proper mall in the 80s was like. Orange Julius dealers, neon lights everywhere, the Gap, the fashion in the Gap.
Yeah.
It just screamed 80s, all those scenes, and I loved it so much. The theater. I mean,
I got to say something real quick. I have 6% left on my phone. You give me a
So we
second. to
better
grab a
hustle.
charger.
let's hustle.
I can go grab a
Go.
charger really fast.
No, you're good. We'll do this. We're going up on an hour anyway.
Yeah.
6%.
6%.
Let's go. Number 2, it's not the choice you think. I'm actually putting Mandalorian in the number 2 spot, and that's because I only feel like it can only get better from here. It's only season 1.
So you're giving them room to grow.
Told it's not unlocked its full potential. That would be like me saying I love Goku from Dragon Ball before he becomes a Super Saiyan. This show has a story to tell. It's not in its final form yet, so it is my number 2.
Now I can't wait to see what your number 1 is.
Oh, you're gonna love my number 1.
That blew me away there.
Yeah. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is gonna be Rick and Morty.
Okay.
For my favorite thing to watch.
I know you love that show. It is. That show has always had its appeal for you, and it's made quite a.
Yeah. I enjoy it enough. It's another to watch over and over and over and over.
Yeah, you never get tired of it, bro.
I tried to keep animated shows, like I was saying, out of my top 5, but this one was the one.
Oh, how could you do that to Rick and Morty?
I invested in.
Yes.
I love it. I love the characters. I love the I like Rick and Morty. They're the way they work together.
Dynamic. It's changed a lot these last few seasons. And Rick and him are at a very strange point in season 4 where Morty isn't as eager to please his grandpa as he used to be. And you're seeing, and I love that they are doing that. I think it's very bold of the show because The Simpsons, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie stay permanent that age. And this has been 30 years. And you can see Morty is growing and he is changing and his interests are changing. Just like a real kid. As step parents, you and I know that better than anyone. The way these kids just become disinterested with stuff now.
That's so true. Like his priorities now are girls.
Oh yeah. How real is that? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I love your number 2. I'll go right to my number 1 choice. And this is a show that I will always say is the best show on TV, and that's Shameless. It's a Showtime property. I've been watching half of 2019. We got the ending of season 9. That was the very huge story where Fiona leaves the show. And now everyone was wondering, how are the Gallaghers going to be able to hold our interest without Fiona? She was kind of like the centerpiece. But Frank and the other siblings have picked up the slack. And season 10 has been just as incredible as everyone before, if not better, because the other siblings have more time to shine now. There's more time for Kev and Dee. Frank's adventures are a little bit longer. So the show's doing just fine without Fiona. So that's why it's my number 1.
I love that show, and I'm definitely behind several seasons, but it's insane. And it's well written. It's hilarious.
You need to fix that. You need to get up on that season 9. And they are actually filming 11 right now. That will premiere in the fall. 11 is the final season of this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I stopped watching that show probably after season 5. I think we got halfway into it, all the seasons, and then just once everybody started leaving one by one, it just we just lost interest in it. So,
well, it's never too late to go back and revisit it from 5 and try again. I highly suggest it. Are we losing?
I got 2%.
You better say what's your number 1 choices. You better say what number 1 show is.
I think
number 1 a cliffhanger like that.
Number 1 is Good Night, folks. No, I'm just kidding.
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian is my number 1 favorite show to watch.
Mandalorian, of course.
It hit me enough to put it over everything else I loved.
It's an incredible show. Yeah. I mean, you can't be more money than Pedro Pascal right now. I mean,
yeah.
I was telling Kev earlier, David, that the grandson of John Wayne is the son double of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I knew about that for a while. I'm just surprised they even put that out just now about that.
That's a pretty epic guy to have as your son double. The son of John Wayne. The grandson. I think we lost Kev. Oh, he looks there. So that's the.
Right.
I'm gonna use this image on his eulogy one day and be like, Kev was the best. Man. He could create thumbnails out of his ass like nothing. There was eating. He's back.
Well, he did say he was going to get it. So
I was doing your eulogy. Yeah. So now that you've heard our choices, Dave, what would be the closest thing that you could pick as your 5 favorite TV shows of last year? Mandalorian.
Well, after doing some thinking while y'all ran through y'all's list, I don't really have a top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I won't. It wouldn't be fair for me to say that because, like I said, I hadn't watched enough shows to be like, oh wow, that's I'm not going to do that. But I will mention some shows that I did enjoy watching. It may not have been like a whole season, but I did like watching This Is Us. That's a pretty good show. Enjoyed watching that. It's a very hard show to watch. You have to be very strong-willed to watch something like that and for it to understand what these characters are going through, because it's a lot to take, and it can be a difficult show to get through at times. Another show, it would be Sugarcane, and that's basically a urban show, basically about a black woman who owns a cane farming. Her family owns a cane farm, sugarcane farm, and they have to go through all that hoopla and drama and all that stuff.
It wasn't no easy. It wasn't no easy task to do that.
Oh no! Especially
African and run one of those in that time.
And another show, of course, The Mandalorian, and then
of course,
Stranger Things season 3.
Right.
I will throw in The Watchmen.
Okay.
I love that show.
Didn't get a chance to watch that. I think I will though.
Yes, I think it's a different take. It's school boot, I think, if you want to put if you know anything about The Watchmen, you'll probably understand it a lot more. But it's kind of a different take on it, and I think the creator that did the show didn't want to do the rehash the old stuff, it just wanted to kind of move away, made it its own show and identity, and I think he did very well with that. Sadly enough, he decided he didn't want to do a season 2. Sucks because it deserves a season 2, and that's one of those shows that could at least had at least 3 to 4 seasons. Yeah. So hopefully something works out. Hopefully he changes his mind, but highly unlikely at this point. Other than that, that's the only thing I can think of on the top of my dome at the moment that I can.
Well, that's a good list. I mean, obviously you enjoyed Punisher season 2 as well last year.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's one you would noteworthy advise, recommend.
But I haven't seen. I didn't watch any of the other Marvel shows.
Well, it was only Jessica Jones and Punisher last year. There was nothing else. The rest, 2008.
Yeah. I didn't see. I didn't see season 2 Iron Fist. I didn't watch the.
Yeah, that's 2018 anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah, you really need to try Jessica Jones. It's very good. It's worth watching. But and I need to watch Watchmen. Sounds like.
Yes, you do. If you like all the other superhero stuff, you definitely will like this one. It's more, should I say, more scientific. You'd have to kind of understand the astrology of what they're talking about a little bit. If you're really familiar with it,
it's a thinking man's comic book show.
Yeah.
It's very cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But
that's a good recommendation.
And then as far as anything else like animation goes, I did thoroughly enjoy One Punch Man. Also, let's see, I'm trying to think of something else. That's about the only animation thing that I've watched, actually. Yeah, that's pretty much it as far as TV shows that I can think of. So,
well, that's good. We'll end the video here. If you stay the entire hour, we surely do appreciate it. Please like the video. Please subscribe. Let us know what your favorite shows of last year was. We were very interested. What are you watching now? We're very interested. Let us know. Dave, thank you, man, for joining in. We appreciate the input as always. You and I will be doing Dave's Corner, I hope.
Yes.
Very soon. We have a new episode of that coming up. If anyone's not watched the first episode of Dave's Corner, that is available now. And other than that, we'll catch y'all on the next upload. This is Sandman and David Blucher signing out for the Savage Podcast.